And we are once again live. Well, of course, we're live on the 5 to 9 podcast, bringing you all information about how to help you in your 5 to 9. I am, as always, you're one of your hosts, Vince Mirabelli, and with me, as always, Michael Martino. Michael, ¿qué pasa?
Hey,
Okay.
what's up?
Not much, man. What's going on?
I'm coming from a different angle.
Oh,
I'm just playing with my sides. I was watching our episode with Tema. I drink a shitload of water, so I'm gonna try and every time I looked, I'm drinking. I'm like, what am I in the desert? So staying away from the water this time, and coming this way.
Right.
This way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
What's
also,
up with you?
I'm having the same. I've moved into a new office in the depths of my basement, and I'm noticing this really ugly picture right over my shoulder. So I've got to do something about this because I don't like this. He's flying over a meadow. Not part of my brand.
I just posted that exact picture on Instagram of
Awesome.
you pointing at it.
Awesome. So all right. Now, all these things are going to be great when we get the audio-only podcast. This is going to be awesome. But hey, if you're listening to the audio-only podcast in 3 days from now, go back and watch the video on YouTube. Check it out. Watch it, and we're live. So, Mike, we've been sort of dancing around an issue for a really, really long time, and I think today we're going to hit that thing on the head. Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Well,
it's a good one.
We both come from pretty diverse and distinct disciplines. You're very much a customer experience guy. I am very much a process guy. And we have been talking about how you need one to fix the other. And so I think that's what we're going to talk about today, which is how to leverage customer experience and business process to get the results that you're looking for in your business.
Yes. So I think the my thesis over the last month has been. You ready for it?
Lay it on.
Your customer's largest effort is as a company, your biggest inefficiency. So through the work of customer intelligence, so if you through surveys, maybe ethnographic research when you go and talk to them, through verbatims, you're going to find the customer's biggest effort, the thing that they complain about the most, that you make them go through the most hoops to do business with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you reverse engineer that into through business process into your company, you're going to find that's where you spend a lot of your time. That's where all your inefficiency is, because there's a handoff, or this process doesn't work with that process, or that person needs to go around in a circle to do something. And so the part where you journey map and say, look at all the problems the customer is going through. As a customer experience person, that's great, but that's just the start of the work. You need to marry that work with your process excellence guy, and I'm pointing at you, or your business improvement person, to actually go and fix that effort. Because even if you're getting new technology, you need to go back and fix the process, because the process is probably built on a traditional channel or a channel that you've been using inappropriately for many years. So even if it's a technology problem, you got to circle your business process people into that.
And I think that's an interesting thesis, Michael, and we will hopefully test it a little bit today. But what's interesting about it is, I've had a little bit of exposure into the CX world, and I personally, I think you're bang on, because people that are involved in customer experience and, like you said, surveying and net promoter score and customer satisfaction surveys and blah, 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 blah. Great. They collect all this information, And then it leads to the question I ask probably more than any other question, which is, so what? So what are we going to
Right.
do? Like, all of that needs to lead to action. Like,
Yes.
you could journey map your entire business. And if, for those that aren't familiar with customer journey mapping, Mike is probably one of the foremost experts in customer journey mapping. I'll say in Canada, but probably North America and globally. Hey, not kidding, Mike. Don't be humble. Uh, but so what? Like, you go and map all these journeys and what your customer's going through, and you get some insights into what they're doing, what they're feeling, some of the things that they interact with. Great. So what? Like, what are you going to do about it? So
Yes.
the journey
And
mapping
that's
without
where
the action is nice,
Mhm.
but it's not useful.
And what a lot of people do is they go, here's the journey map. Here's some initiatives we should do. And everybody's like, yes, that's how we're going to fix that journey. We're going to start doing these initiatives. But they're not towards a bigger story or a bigger business model or service model. You need to jump over, you need to jump over the initiative stage, put that on hold for a second and say, if this is how we're treating customers today, and it could be in the life of your company or in one service or in one product, and you identify that that's the one that's horrible, you then have to, and when I say you have to create the customer experience vision, and I don't mean hoity-toity, I mean down to the tactical level. If this is what they're doing today, and this is how we're treating them, this is how we're going to treat them, and this is what we're going to do tomorrow. So you have the new way every step of the way. And then you got to go in there with your business people and go, okay, so what are the processes? You need to map those business processes that are going to give this new customer journey.
I'm going to take that one. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead. No, sorry. You got me excited.
Then you can go back to the initiative stage. Only then you can start going, okay, we got the vision, we got the new business. And then when you go back to whoever you need to go back to get money, you bring those things and say, here's why we're coming with these 3 things, because you can't do everything. So you got to pluck off the initiatives. But they need to see that those initiatives are part of a bigger story. And then they can see, you're doing these 3 to get you here, and then you're going to come back for more money to do the next 4, and then you're going to have that new vision. But stopping at a journey map and going, ta-da, here it is, I'm going to say whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you didn't let me cut you off, because you said what you said exactly where I was gonna, like, it's great, you've identified all these opportunities, let's go do some stuff. And that's not the point. And so even mapping on its own, like business process mapping, is another one of those. Okay, so what? So I've mapped the process. So what? Like, if there isn't a plan to identify opportunities within that map, if there isn't opportunities to identify opportunities in that map, then you're not going to know what are the things you need to fix. And that's where a lot of my energy is actually spent, is in stopping people as they're going through this journey of continuous improvement, and making sure that they know the 2, 3, 4, whatever number of things that are going to help them shift the proverbial needle from here to here, assuming this is better. I moved my hand for those that are listening to the audio only.
For the audio only.
So it's almost like a process of the process. You've got to understand your customer's view and your customer's pain, and what is it that your customer wants you to fix. Then you've got to understand what's currently happening and develop a vision for what you want it to be. And then you need someone with some expertise in process improvement, which is different than process mapping, by the way. But you need someone with expertise in process improvement that's going to help you actually fix the thing, because mapping in and of itself is useless.
Mm-hmm. It is
Like,
useless.
yeah, it's like, great, this is my map, this is what my and now I'm going to go process nerd for a second here.
Go ahead.
When you get a process map, all it's really, depending on who actually formulated that map, it could be, this is what's supposed to happen, which is when you get management doing it. Sorry, management, but it's true. Or you get like, this is what's really happening when you have business people, like frontline people that are actually involved in the process. But typically, I haven't seen many businesses that actually get frontline staff to contribute to the process map. And if they do, it's almost like a checkbox. Like, oh, did you have someone from frontline look at it? Yep. Check.
Yep.
So,
You did.
so usually a business process map is what the process should be, or what it's supposed to be, rather, and not what is. And so, if that's the case, spoiler alert, you're going to draw many, many, many wrong conclusions, because what is supposed to be is often not what is. And so, if you're looking at a what should be process map, you're going to fix the wrong things, and you actually might make things worse. So it's important that you identify, I told you, process nerd, man. You identify the pains of the customer. You identify the true process as it's happening, not as you want it to happen. And then you have someone with expertise in process improvement that can help fix it. And it doesn't have to be me. I mean, I like doing this stuff, and I like solving problems. But there are you know what? I'm not even going to lie. There are very few people in the world that are actually experts at process improvement. So you need yourself, at a minimum, a black belt in Lean and Six Sigma process improvement methodology. Ideally, you want a master black belt, and there's less than 5,000 of those in the world. So, good luck.
And I know a guy.
And I know a guy.
So taking all that, and here's what I'm a big fan now of these customer experience. I'm just using that because it could be business model vision. It could be whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to say customer experience vision. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big fan of these new videos that I'm proposing, because it gets your executives on board to say, because you can explain something and everybody has a different interpretation of what that means. But you need to show them and say, is this it? Yes. Fantastic. And so they always have that end vision when you come back in 3 months and go, now we're going to start doing this thing. Mm-hmm. So they don't think it's like, well, why are they doing that thing now? I thought we were doing this other thing. And in Johnny's shop, they want to try this other initiative. So why don't we try that? Bringing them back to, remember, we all agreed this is what we were going to do, and everybody's all excited about that. Here's why we're picking off these initiatives as opposed to some other shiny initiative, because that's not towards where we want to go as a business. Mm-hmm. So it's super important to keep them level on where you're driving to in the next, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years.
Right.
Instead of, because, in 6 months, everybody's like, oh, we have a new initiative, we should spend money on that.
Let's do some stuff. We got some stuff to do. Like,
let's do some stuff. And everybody's like, why are we doing so much stuff? Mm-hmm. I don't get why we're doing all this stuff. And it's because no one is being dogmatic about a vision of where we're going to go, of where the company needs to be and where you want to go.
Right.
Because if you don't do that, everybody's like, That sounds pretty cool, because on its own, that sounds pretty cool. Of course we should
Hmm.
do that. Of course we should do authenticated
Hmm.
chat. Sounds fantastic. But it doesn't go towards your vision. You've just wasted a whole bunch of time and money doing that.
Hmm. Oh, you know what we should do? A virtual reality app. And it's like, but you're the
Yes, that's
IRS.
cool.
You're the IRS. Why do you need like how is that going to help your customers? Oh, I don't know, but it's cool.
It's
Okay.
cool. Hey, we should start using Chatbox and Facebook Messenger.
Right.
Um,
Oh, but
or
you're a carpenter. Like, why are you using these? Like, it all comes back to it's got to align to your business. And I mean, no disrespect to carpenters or absolutely the IRS. Despite living in Canada, I still fear you. Um, I was just picking examples of like, you know, you've gotta align, you've got to understand what your customer wants from you and what they want you to fix. And so, you know, great. If you're a government agency that handles, you know, like the IRS, probably billions and trillions of dollars, do your customers, do taxpayers in the US want a VR app for some reason? Probably not. If you're a carpenter and you are only being paid while you are working, do you want um, a chat function with your customers? Do you need a chat function? Probably not. You probably need a better website and with more information, and that's about it. Like, so fix what needs to be fixed and focus on what's important to your customers, and make your biggest inefficiency that much easier to work with. Because if you reduce the effort that your customers have to go through to do business with you, you're gonna have happier customers. You're gonna make more money. You're gonna have, you know, you're gonna grow your business.
and remember,
Peace.
this is it's scalable and it's to scale. So right now, Vince and I are talking about working with super large companies that have like multiple touch points with customers, multiple channels, a boatload of different teams and divisions that are probably siloed. And we're talking about a customer needing to cut through that. So we're talking like huge banks, government agencies, insurance companies. So, you know, we're talking about multiple channels, chat, phone, laptop, mobile. But remember, as a 5 to 9er, you can scale that back. And let's think about how your customer deals with you. And if you're, when you look at your customer and what their biggest need from you and their biggest effort, you don't need to be on 17 channels and
Mm.
you don't need a seamless integration because it's you. So you have an email and you have a phone and you're the person who's chatting with your customer. So you may need a very simple customer relationship management tool, which could be just like a Word document, or it could be like an Excel sheet that you know these little tidbits about your customers. So we're not talking about multi-channel, but we are talking about if an order takes your customer, the few customers you have, a long time, you should probably work on that instead of going, I need to write 3 more blog posts.
Hmm.
You get to the blog posts after, and you need to get to maybe your Instagram later. Maybe you may be worrying about biz development later, as opposed to fixing your online purchasing,
Hmm.
like your e-commerce, because maybe you've stitched together a bunch of different sites together to try and jam that together. If that's what's stopping you from having your customer get your product, you need to focus in on that. And it's just at a much smaller scale, but it's the same process.
It's right sized, essentially. It's
Yep.
scalable is right. It's right sized. You don't need the stuff that we have available for large employers, for large businesses, multi-billion-dollar businesses. You don't need it. I don't need it for what I do. Like, it's something that we offer. It's not something I use myself because it's not something that I need at this stage. Now, when I get to the point where I am a multi-billion-dollar empire, then maybe I will. But right now, and this was a big realization for me. I always tried to portray myself as a much bigger company than I actually am, because it's me. And so I had multiple business websites that all talked about all the things that I did, and then I just consolidated it under vincentmirabelli.com, because that's where I'm going to start sending people, because it's just me. And I still do all that other stuff. I'm just not pretending that I'm bigger than I am.
Which goes back to what we've been trying to do is documenting what we're doing instead of creating content that we think people need.
Right.
We're just saying, here's how we do these things, and hopefully you can take something from that, because we're not a multi-million-dollar company. We're just like two guys talking over coffee.
So for those that this is your first episode, that was the original title of this podcast, working title, Two Idiots Having Coffee Talking About Business. It didn't workshop well.
That's right. Test audiences didn't really like it.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's we're not creating content that we think that we like. We're not going out and researching all this content and then writing a blog post.
Yeah.
Because there's 9 million people doing that.
Yeah.
We're just documenting the things that we do, and sometimes it hits,
and sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes it's somewhere right in that crappy middle. And hopefully people learn from that. Just like learning from the process of looking at what your customers need and then mapping it against the vision and then getting business process in there. And if you're a 5 to 9er, you're gonna have to figure that out all on your own, but it needs to be done, because if you don't know where you're going, then you're gonna start spinning on, I need to be on Snapchat to get people, and I need to be on Instagram, and I'm gonna do blog posts, and maybe none of that stuff matters for your customer, depending on what your business is.
Right.
Or it may, and you need to figure out where you're not as effective.
So to sum up then, and maybe this should be the title of the show, your customer experience, or the experience that your customer goes through, plus your business processes equals infinite opportunity.
Well, that's a huge title.
Well, too bad it's already the title of the show. So your customer needs with your business needs, it gives you infinite improvement opportunities, but it's as long as you're satisfying those two things, you're gonna have success. Now,
yes,
what your definition of success is, that's a whole other conversation.
That could be a whole other podcast, a whole other episode.
Hey, but you've got to have both sides of the house. You can't make things so burdensome and so cumbersome for your customers that you've got nothing to do from an administrative standpoint. But then you can't take on so much process and admin to make your customer's life easy. There's got to be some balance there, because if you're working on business process stuff in the background, you're not selling.
But if you're doing all this other work and not getting to be able to help your customers, because you're taking on all this burden on your own, you're inefficient. And that's a problem, because your customer is going to come back around and go, I'm going through so much effort because you're not around, because you're too busy doing all these other things that should probably be given back to your customer to do. Remember, it's a balance. And customers are willing to do some work to do business with you. It's just at the level of effort that you're going to make them go through.
Right. And that's important. You've got to know what the threshold of your customer is and what they're willing to go through, and then you've got to meet them in a place where you're both efficient.
Yes.
You want to make it easy for them, and you want it to be easy for you so that you can focus on what's important to you, which is, at this, I'm guessing, at this stage, for most of us, growing your business. Not building your
Yes.
website, not,
Yes.
building a landing page or whatever. Like, it's making things easy for your customers to do business with you. Period.
Yes.
Hashtag real facts.
Hashtag reduce customer effort.
Yeah. No, I mean, the whole alternative, we're making this timely. That whole alternative facts thing, like, this is real, man. This is real facts. Hashtag real facts.
Yes. Hashtag real facts. On that note.
So, yes, you need a good customer experience. You need efficient business processes. You need those two things. And what can people do, Mike, if they want those two things?
You could go.
I volleyed it up for you. I volleyed it up for you.
So,
and now you got to come in and
the business improvement system is what you guys are looking for. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The playbook, the customer innovation playbook, or the business innovation playbook,
is what is super important. It has both sides of the house in there. Your customer intelligence, your business improvement, and then it goes on to customer design. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to deliver these things, be it in person, digital, on the phone? So check out. Do we have a website we could lead them to there, Vince?
I'll include it in the show notes. There is a landing page right now.
Yes.
Right now it's available as a standalone product. And knowing our customers, who you and I have been talking about, turning it into an online course, which is kind of cool. So I don't know if it'll be sort of a self-paced, video-based course, or whether it'll be a weekly, lecture with activities and all that. We haven't figured that out, but very exciting and very cool. Especially this one is aimed at small business owners, which is a scaled down version of what we offer to our enterprise customers, our enterprise clients. So, because you don't need the whole shebang-a-bang, you just need the customer piece and the process piece, and you may not need the strategy visioning piece. You may not need some of the more operational pieces that we have, which are way beyond my scope of knowledge and just
which goes to our philosophy of don't spend money on shit you don't need.
Right.
Spend it on the stuff that you need.
Oh, so, it's like a tenth the price. Like
but it's what you need, as opposed to you need this thing that's way over what you would need as a small business. So,
right, but it's half the content, but at a tenth
the content
of the price.
That you need. But it's the content
that you need. Yeah, it's the content you need. So we want to make sure that you're getting good value out of it. So I will put a link to the landing page for that, because that is now available. Exciting. Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get out of here.
Yeah. So as always, send us your questions, send us your emails, send us your comments. New website, as I mentioned, Vincent Mirabelli, all one word, .com. And you can get me on Twitter and Instagram at Vince_Mirabelli. And Mike, your details?
michaelmartino.ca. Check out my new website.
It's good.
Let me know what you think. Twitter at Michael Martino, and my Instagram handle is at 5to9community.
Sweet. Everyone, have a great rest of the weekend, and enjoy
the Super Bowl. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yes.
All right. Peace.
Go Dolphins.